Welcome once again to Tired Old Queen at the Movies. I'm a little bored. Let's go on a journey with Steve Hayes.
Johnny, adventure fantasy, come on in. Johnny, I wanted to do a film that I loved as a child. When I was a kid and I went to the first time I went to the movies, the first movie I ever saw was Cecil B. DeMille's The Greatest Show on Earth. The second movie I ever saw was South Pacific. Both of them affected me for different reasons. Then I went to this one, 1959's Journey to the Center of the Earth, starring James Mason, Pat Boone, Peter Ronson, and Arlene Dahl. Now this is based on a Jules Verne novel, and there'd been a very big success story with Jules Verne novels in the 50s. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea was filmed by Disney with Kirk Douglas and James Mason, and then Around the World in 80 Days won the very best picture of the year in 1957 with David Niven and Shirley MacLaine. So 20th Century Fox was more than willing to jump on the ball game, and they gave it a Class A production.
Did you expect a flight of stairs with a red carpet?
The story is like this. This professor in Scotland is brought a hunk of lava by his student, and that's James Mason and Pat Boone. And when they cook the lava, they find that it has inside a piece of metal with 3 scrawls on it and the initials AS for Arne Saknussemm.
Oh, what is he talking about?
Arne Saknussemm, the Icelandic scientist.
The greatest of his day. He was laughed at when he claimed there must be some kind of a world down below.
Let's go and find where he went down. They go into this volcano in Iceland.
I neglected to tell you, sir. I have a nervous fear of heights.
They meet and pick up this guy named Peter Ronson, who was a runner, an Icelandic runner who was going to UCLA, and they needed a big Icelandic guy.
That's a beginning.
And they found this guy, he's gorgeous, blonde guy, to play their guide.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Put me down! Put me down!
And this is the team that's going down in. There was another scientist that was exploring the same thing, and he's murdered.
What?
And his wife takes over, and that's Arlene Dahl, so she's going with him.
Don't say it.
Naturally, I'm coming along. That's why I'm giving you all of this. That's a condition. I thought you understood.
You didn't mention any condition.
The guys who murdered him, they are also going down, and that's Arne Saknussemm's evil nephew who wants to claim the center of the earth for himself. So these two different parties are going down this volcano. Now they go into these caves. This is a special effects person's dream. They go into this one, it's just loaded with every color crystal imaginable. The whole thing was shot in Cinemascope, and it has the most gorgeous score by Bernard Herrmann. His music brought a dramatic height to science fiction stories, as we saw when we did Mysterious Island and when we did The Day the Earth Stood Still. Neither one of those movies would be even a quarter as good, or Jason and the Argonauts, without that score by Bernard Herrmann. Not to mention his Hitchcock work, Vertigo, Psycho, North by Northwest, classic scores. I really firmly believed he was the greatest film composer. And his score for this is just fabulous. It starts at the beginning of the movie and it just keeps going down octaves like you're going down the center of the earth. Dun 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 boom 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 dun boom boom boom. It just keeps going down. They go deeper into the earth. They find an underground sea. They find a place where mushrooms are as big as houses.
A forest of mushrooms. They may be hundreds of years old, but the small ones we can eat. And delicious.
Pat Boone gets lost at one point. And he almost dies, and he's found by the evil nephew and forced to work for them.
You're in my world now.
And then they're forced to join forces and travel together. Peter Ronson never speaks a word of English, but he's so hunky, and he has his pet Gertrude, his duck Gertrude, and she's the mascot, you know. And they encounter dinosaurs. Now, when I was a kid, this blew me away. What they use, the dinosaurs are called, James Mason says, they're Dimetrodons.
A Dimetrodon?
If I had my gun, we'd have fresh meat for dinner.
That's what he's saying.
But in actuality, they were called rhinoceros iguanas. And they put these dinosaur things on them, but they look so real and they're so menacing. They almost eat Arlene Dahl. James Mason hated her during the shooting, so I think he probably wished that they had. They encounter an undersea ocean, and then they get lost in a whirlpool, and they're twirling around in this whirlpool, and they get sucked in, and then they discover the lost city of Atlantis. And they realize that it was engulfed, and at that point, they don't know how they're gonna get out, and they discover more dinosaurs in that situation. It's one adventure after another, but it's done completely seriously, and it's done with Cinemascope, Technicolor, and special effects that you can't be beat. Watching this movie is it's just such a fantasy. It takes you back to when you were a kid and you saw great films on Saturday afternoon. Pat Boone is adorable and cute. Peter Ronson is a hunk. James Mason is always is a pro, and Arlene Dahl is pretty. She does a nice job. There's nothing wrong with her, and she does a pretty good German accent considering.
I resent that word.
But the real star of this movie is the cinematography and definitely the score and the special effects. It's just a sci-fi delight, and you're gonna love for your summer watching Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Let's all go to the lobby.
I always thought that James Mason sounded like Betty Davis. James Mason, always talked like this, and Betty Davis always talked like this, and you never saw them in the same room together.
The popcorn can't be beat.